Hey everyone, welcome back to BDG Reviews. It's been a while since I uploaded. I've just kind of really dropped behind. I don't know why. Hopefully I'm gonna get back into it. Okay, so what we got today is something a little bit different. When we were doing our best of 2018 podcast, I decided to put a little addition into my list, and that was a category for missed opportunities. And it got me thinking. Though there have been a lot of movies that just really they should have been great, but for whatever reason it just never came off. So I've got a list of 10 of them right here. Now, first off, these movies aren't necessarily bad movies. They're just movies that for whatever reason, they should have been better than what they are. Well, you'll see when I get into it. I'll start off right now. Number 10, got The Howling 2. Now, just think about this for a second. The Howling, werewolves, Christopher Lee. It should have been like a masterpiece, but it just ended up like cheesy, and I still like it. A lot of people still like it, but it just doesn't. It's not what it should have been. This should have been like the end all be all of Howling movies, and it's not. It's just like kind of like a cheesy, fun little flick. So yeah. So you see how I'm doing this. Number 9, Hellraiser Revelations. I love this movie. I really do. It's honestly, it's one of my favorite Hellraiser movies, actually. But, this movie had a lot of missteps, I guess you could say. But I mean, found footage, which I dig. Hellraiser, which I really dig. Hence, the tattoo. I mean, it's quite obvious I'm a Hellraiser fan. This was mainly let down by bad editing, really, and an actor who just didn't have it in him to play Pinhead. And it's a damn shame, because honestly, I like this one. I like this one quite a bit, but it was let down. This should have been great. This should have been a return to form for Hellraiser, and it wasn't. It wasn't until Judgment that we actually got a return to form. So there you go. Number 8, Pulse. Again, this is a remake of a classic. This is a remake of Cairo, the Japanese flick. It should have been awesome. But this is one of the single most boring movies I've ever seen, honestly. I mean, they took genuinely kind of creepy looking ghost type people, and then they did this digital effect over them that just made them look stupid. And the real annoying part is, like, when you hear the director talking about it, it's obvious he's got a passion for the horror genre and everything. He just, I don't know, just didn't have the chops for this particular title. Yeah, this should have been, it should have been great. But now it's just kind of forgotten. Number 7, Cursed. This is another one like Howling 2. Wes Craven movie. Werewolf movie. Put them together. It should have been awesome. What you end up with is some goofy little, like, kind of teeny bopper type werewolf flick that's just not very interesting, except for the one werewolf that like flips off the camera. I mean, that's pretty much it. And it's written by Kevin Williamson, who did Scream and everything. This should have been a no-brainer. This would have been good, but it wasn't. That one still kind of irks me. Number 6, Leatherface. A lot of people really shit all over this movie. Undeservedly so. This is a good movie. The problem is, you put the Texas Chainsaw Massacre title on something, um, you're expecting something special, and this wasn't really it. If this had been, just sort of like the birth of a new serial killer types like thing, I think this would have been, people would have loved it. But you put Leatherface there, you put Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it raises the bar, and just I don't know whether they're just not up to it or whether it was just a completely the wrong direction to go in. I don't know, but it just didn't work. Number 5 here is Rings. I wanted to love this movie. I really did. But it's just alright, honestly. The problem with Rings is, when did it come out? It came out in 2017. This should have come out in like 2010 or so. This right after Rings 2, right after Ring 2, this should have come out like 1 or 2 years later, and it would have fit in perfectly. They waited way too long, and honestly, people had moved on. And again, it's a shame because this could have been the rebirth of like the J horror, like the American J horror thing, but it wasn't. Okay, number 4. This is the one that's in my list for 2018, and that's The Nun. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a really well done, like pretty fun little flick. But the problem with this is you have this really creepy character that's severely underused, and when it is used, it's like choking people. It was just a misstep completely, and not properly tying it. I'll say here, they should have somehow tied what's her name, I can never remember her name, Taissa Farmiga. They should have tied her character some way in with Vera Farmiga's character from The Conjuring. It would have worked, even if it was just something like they looked a lot alike. So the demon was kind of like, wait a minute, you look like that one. Didn't work, Number 3, this one hurts. Because this is a movie I really wanted to love, and that was Harpoon, Whale Watching Massacre. I mean, it's got Gunnar Hansen in it. And honestly, this should have been awesome, but it's just meh. There's nothing special about this movie at all. Complete missed opportunity. Number 2, Slender Man. This is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. Again, this suffers kind of from the same thing that happened with Rings. It's just way too late to the game. This should have been out at the height of Slender Man, like, mania or Slender Mania or whatever you want to call it. But it completely missed the mark. It was years too late, and when it did come out, it just reeked of teen angst. And honestly, if you haven't seen this movie, I'll tell you this. I got this for about $13 on Blu-ray. If you can find it for that, pick it up. It's entertaining. It's not good, but it's entertaining. It is what it is. But honestly, if you haven't seen it, they learn how to summon Slender Man by going on the internet and doing about a 30-second Google search. I'm just leaving it at that. It's a bit, And now for number 1. And this is a movie that I actually really like. A lot of people don't. I do, and that is A Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I thought this did tons of stuff right, but it did a lot wrong also. And the stuff it did wrong really, like, this should have been a no-brainer. A remake of Nightmare on Elm Street should have been a hit, especially with Jackie Earle Haley playing Freddy Krueger. But they just missed the mark so far. in a lot of ways. I mean, I've gone on record before saying that I actually really enjoy this movie. I saw this movie 3 times in the theater, and I enjoyed myself every time. Now, could that have been just the fact that, you know, it was a Nightmare on Elm Street movie that I got to see in the theater? Maybe. But I honestly found Jackie Earle Haley to be a really good Freddy Krueger. I love the glove design. Always have. Loved, like, the micro naps and everything like that. Loved some of the kills. They were quite gory and good. But honestly, with the exception of the Freddy character, I couldn't care less about any of the other, like, characters at all. They really dropped the ball when it came to that. So yeah, there we go. Number 1, Nightmare on Elm Street. So there you go. That's just my, like, take on it. If you're watching this, if you can think of something that is a complete missed opportunity, just, you know, put it down below. I'd like to know what other people think about this, you know, because some stuff just should work, but it doesn't. Yeah. That's it for now. See you next time.